think 14 students, 13 or 14 students. Out of that, 4 do not have computers or laptops. So obviously, we'll have to conduct this course in such a way that it does not become an essential part of it. So we'll need to exclusively depend on videos and video lectures and demonstrations. Next, there are suggestions from your sides, mostly talking about online classes with no other alternatives being feasible. And there's also one suggestion regarding holding the class not at this particular designated time. So, is there any other time slots you have free? Because I don't think it is going to be means too fruitful. Because
So I think
uh,
this term slot is perfectly fine.
Yes, sir.
is that okay?
This time slot is perfectly fine, sir.
Okay, okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
So then that would be fine with me, because I would have also difficulty in finding slots, because I have other classes, post graduation classes, as well as research activity to deal with. So we'll keep it in the allotted slot, and that's how we'll go forward. Any other questions or queries from your side regarding this? If not, then we'll start the presentation. I'll share the screen. Tell me if you can see it.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I'll also start the recording, and once it starts, then I will move over to the uh, presentation window. Hello and welcome to this introductory lecture on computer-aided drafting. I am Anirban Mitro, an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Jadavpur University, and I'm the designated faculty member who is going to be conducting this course, computer-aided drafting, and it's part of your curriculum in the second year, first semester. Just a moment. See, this is the sort of problem that happens when people join late. So I have to stop that and come over here. Anyway, please try to maintain the time. So given that, try to join within, say, 2 to 3 minutes of the given time. So then we'll be able to avoid such interruptions. Okay. The best place to start any introductory lecture is possibly the title of the course itself. So here we have the computer-aided drafting, and our focus, first of all, is on the third word in this title. Drafting here in the present context is probably synonymous with drawing. And talking about drawing, if you consider all types of drawing, we can make a broad classification where we can create two general subcategories. One is the creative or artistic drawing, and the other one is, say, engineering or technical drawings. So, on one hand, you have creative drawings. On the other hand, you have technical drawings. But this is just a broad classification. But one thing is similar between these two types of drawings, artistic and technical. They are both modes or medium of communication. However, one communicates, you can say, emotions or feelings, that is the creative part of drawing, and the other one actually conveys certain technical information, and that is technical drawing, engineering drawing. As I have already mentioned, in case of creative, artistic, or even abstract drawings, we communicate or express our feelings and emotions. And this was probably one of the first medium of written communication. When did it start? Probably in the prehistoric times, when the earlier species, humankind species, used to draw cave paintings on the cave walls. And what did they try to communicate? They were trying to communicate probably the feeling that, or a successful hunt. So that feeling of overcoming a challenge that they wanted to depict, and that was done through a painting on the wall. So starting with those and coming to the modern masterpieces such as the Mona Lisa and the Starry Night by Van Gogh, one thing has remained the same: the expression of emotions and feelings through such artistic drawings. Now, if you look for technical information in such drawings, then that is not a good idea. Take this Starry Night painting from Van Gogh. Does the night sky actually look like that? Have you seen the night sky actually look like that? It doesn't.
No, sir, not at all.
The moon doesn't look like this. The proportion of the stars are possibly wrong. Even their colors are wrong. But do we look for such things in such a masterpiece? If you are looking at such a painting from the engineering point of view, then probably you are a fool. What is essential in this drawing is the beauty, the you can say uh, the nature of the drawing is such that it creates certain emotions within our heart. But that is not the case on the other subcategory, which is the technical or engineering drawings. Here, there is no place for emotions or feelings. What we try to communicate here, by the way, this is also a medium of communication. That is the same thing that you can say that particular part remains same as the creative or artistic drawings. One moment. Is there anybody here? Do you have a question? Any questions?
No, sir, actually.
Okay, fine. If you have questions, please do put it forward. No problems. So as I was saying, that both of these type of drawings are medium of communication. But in case of technical drawings, instead of communicating emotions or feelings, we communicate technical information. And in this case, there is no place for ambiguity. So obviously, there is a ground rule or rules and regulations, strict rules and regulations that control how or by what means a technical or engineering drawing is going to be made. It has to adhere to certain strict rules. You have already learned some of these fundamental rules in your course of engineering drawing in the first semester. Now, here, technical drawings also have a long history. We start with Da Vinci's technical drawings, and we end up with, in the modern days, machine drawings such as the one shown here. This is a connecting rod of an engine, and this is a two-dimensional orthographic projection that shows the dimensions, the proportions of the various parts of the connecting rod in an unambiguous manner. The figure is this figure. The bottom right hand one is probably too small at the moment, but if you look into it in a bit of detail, you will see that the drawing is accompanied by dimensions. Not only that, how different parts of the connecting rod are put together, that is also pretty clear from the drawing itself. So what are the different parts of it and how they are assembled together? So that sort of information is being conveyed through this type of machine drawing, which is also a category of technical drawings. Quite clearly, if somebody misinterprets that, then there is going to be problems regarding failure of the component. So there should not be any kind of confusion regarding what kind of information you are trying to convey. So obviously, the dimensions need to be given properly, the proportions need to be made according to the rules, and everything should be in order. What you want to avoid is any kind of confusion regarding the component. So in our course, in the present context, drafting basically means the technical or engineering drawing part. It does not definitely refer to the creative drawings or artistic drawings. And here I would just like to mention that you should be up to the mark or up to a certain level of fundamental knowledge of engineering drawings that you have already covered. And if you feel that your basic understanding or basic knowledge about engineering drawing is just a little bit lacking, then my advice would be to go back to the textbook which you have referred previously or certain internet materials and brush up on the basic knowledge of engineering drawing. This is going to be essential and quite helpful in the present course. Now, if you want to define technical or engineering drawing, we can do it in the following way. It's a visual or pictorial depiction that communicates a concept or idea of a physical or engineering object or a system. Here, system refers to a group of objects. So, this basically communicates the concept or idea about an engineering object. And this deals with the function, construction, or operation of the said engineering object. Think about the previous example of the connecting rod. I have already mentioned that it is accompanied by certain dimensions. So when you want to manufacture it, fabricate it, construct it, those dimensions are the guiding things. On the basis of those dimensions, you are going to be creating a physical part. And if you make a mistake, obviously, it is not going to be working properly. So its function is going to be hampered. There are also other type of drawings such as assembly drawings, which gives us a clear idea about how different parts of an assembly is going to be put together. So if you have a system or group of objects, how they are arranged with respect to or relative to one another, that can also be expressed in terms of a technical drawing. And here also, you should be absolutely clear about how the parts are put together. And if you are not clear about that, then obviously your technical drawing is not of a good quality. So you have to keep that in mind. So I think by now the drafting part of this title, the course title, is quite clear to you. Here, by drafting, we mean that we are going to be doing technical drawings. And what is going to aid us in this? A computer. So the process of creating the technical drawings with the use of a computer software. So that is what is meant by computer aided drafting. In the engineering drawing course that I had referred to previously, you have done engineering drawings or technical drawings by hand. You have used your probably scales or pencil, and if you have done it physically in a physical mode class, then you would have used a drafter or a T scale to draw engineering drawings on a drawing sheet. Now, that is going to be replaced by a computer screen. So instead of creating an engineering drawing on a drawing sheet, you are going to be creating it on the interface of a software. And what is this software? That will come to next. But before that, let me also clarify that there can be two different types of computer-based software that are used for creation of technical drawings. One is the 2D drafting or two-dimensional drawings. You can see an example of it right here. This example is of a connector, and it is quite similar to the drawing of the machine drawing of the connecting rod that was previously shown. So this is an orthographic projection. You have the front view and the side view and the top view. Maybe not the complete top view, but multi-view projection is being done here, along with all the dimensions and other things. But there can also be three-dimensional modeling. So 3D modeling is also there. And you can see the same component, which is shown as a orthographic projection here, as a machine drawing, is shown as a 3D model here. They are the same parts. And there are softwares such as SolidWorks, CATIA, Creo Parametric that can be used to achieve such 3D model. And I would mention it here that that is also part of your curriculum, and you will learn about 3D modeling and use of SolidWorks software in third year. But for now, our focus is on two-dimensional drafting, and the software that we will be using is AutoCAD. The symbol for this particular software is that big red letter A, and you can find it as icons on the desktop. Now, just a little bit of introduction about AutoCAD. This is a commercial computer-aided design and drafting software, which is developed and marketed by a company called Autodesk. Some of you may have already visited the site and tried to download the student version. The first release of this AutoCAD software was back in 1982. So it has a long history. And there have been around 35, 36 total releases since then. And the latest version is the AutoCAD 2022. It was released in March 2021. For the present course, we are going to be looking at either one of the versions that are mentioned here. So that is from AutoCAD 2061 to 2021. You can use any one of the versions. I'll be using AutoCAD 2020 for the live demonstrations and the video tutorials that would be shared with you. If you can learn one particular release or version of AutoCAD, then it is quite, I would not say it's not that difficult to move on to the other versions, because fundamentally all of these different releases or versions of AutoCAD remain quite similar. There may be certain small changes, but more or less the major or important components of AutoCAD remain quite the same. So there would not be too much difficulty in moving from one particular version to another. So keep that in mind. And as I said, I'll be doing the demonstrations through AutoCAD 2020. And if you can download it, that's well and good. If you go for any other versions, that is also fine. That is going to be helpful in case of your practice and acquiring the skill of AutoCAD. However, I would also like to mention that if you do not have a laptop or a computational facility and you are unable to download the software, do not worry. Just follow the lecture materials and the video tutorials, and the evaluations would be based on those materials. So as I said, this is the AutoCAD icon, and right now we'll just move slightly away from discussions about AutoCAD.
Sir, web
And
version is also available.
yes, web version is also available, but you would not be able to do the modifications or do the drawings in through a mobile, because the mouse has got a crucial role to play here. You cannot connect a mouse with a smartphone, uh, as far as I know. So, although web version is available, that is basically to look look at drawings or do minor editings, but you cannot do major work in the uh, smartphone version of the AutoCAD. So that is a problem. Okay, let us just now move slightly away from discussions about AutoCAD and look at the syllabus of the course. So we start with introduction and the basic commands of 2D drafting. There will be certain drafting assignments, of course. Then we move on to the slightly, uh, you can say, higher or slightly more complex topics of layers, model space, paper space, viewport, etc. And of course, we'll learn about how to provide dimensions, how to create blocks, and finally, we'll do some isometric drawings. So that is the overview of what we'll try to accomplish in this course. Along with the syllabus, there is also the course outcomes that the students of this course should be able to do after completing the course. I'm not going to read them out. They are pretty simple to understand, and if you go through them, read through it, these course outcomes, you will probably understand quite well what we are trying to achieve through this course. Moving forward, this is again a tabular representation of the course outcome coverage with respect to the syllabus and how different course outcomes are related to the different topics in the syllabus. Again, not too important, just have a cursory glance through it or read through it, and that would be all. Next, we come to a very important aspect of this first class, that is the AutoCAD 2020 interface. It is absolutely critical that you be able to recognize where different parts of this interface are. If you can do that, then only you will be able to quickly create certain kinds of drawings. You need to remember where the important commands are located, where you can provide certain input, or which parts of the screen you need to pay attention, focus on in order to create a error-free drawing.
Sir, can you
First
repeat
of all,
once more, please?
yes, I'll do that.
Actually, your voice was breaking.
Okay. So this is the AutoCAD 2020 interface. And the first task that you should do is memorize, or you can say try to understand where different important parts of this interface are. For example, uh, where different important commands are located, where you need to put in certain input parameters, or which part of the interface you should focus on if you are to create certain error free engineering drawings. First of all, I would draw your attention to this application button. This is a standard Windows software. So this application button contains certain often used uh, applications or commands such as save, print, open, new, and so on. Similar commands are also available in the quick access toolbar. The first one here is create a new drawing. The second one is open a drawing. Then there is the save button. Here is the print button. So you can see that all those are available in the quick access toolbar, as well as if you click on this application button. Below that is the most critical part of this interface, that is known as the ribbon area. This ribbon area is made out of tabs, panels, flyouts, and commands. What are tabs? Tabs are these things that are mentioned here. So home, insert, annotate, view, manage, these are the tabs. And each of the tabs have some specific panels. For example, this home tab is made out of the draw panel, the modify panel, annotation panel, layers panel, and so on. So all these are panels which are present under the home tab. How do we know which panel we are talking about? The panel names are given here at the bottom. So you have the draw panel here. This is the modify panel. This is the annotation panel, the layers panel, block panel, and so on. So each tab has its own panel, and these panels group together the similar commands. Quite obviously, the draw panel would have the draw commands. So you have commands for drawing a line, drawing a rectangle, drawing a circle, and all of these would be there under the draw panel under home tab. If you want to modify an already created drawing, so you have the modify commands which are grouped together here. Dimensions can be provided from the annotation panel. So all of these functionalities are available under the home tab. But do remember that these tabs and panels can be personalized or customized. So it might be that in your version of AutoCAD, it may not appear like this. Their positions may be different. Probably the layers panel could be on this side, the block panel could be on this side, modify could be somewhere else, but they would be present in this ribbon area. And how do you customize or personalize the ribbon area would be demonstrated just a little bit later. Now, of course, this rectangular portion in the middle is the drawing window. Again, the background color is coming as white here because that is a personal choice that I have made. In your case, when you open AutoCAD, this might come as gray or black. So do not worry about that. It's nothing to do with the software. You can change it from the options. And I will show you how to do that. Next comes the command prompt. It's a very, very important part of this interface. This is where you can type out different commands to execute certain things. Or if you are required to give an input, for example, the radius of a circle, where do you input it? So that can be input from the keyboard through the command prompt. Not only that, the command prompt also provides certain instructions. So you need to pay good attention to it in order to understand what is to be done next. It gives you indications of what inputs to provide or what step is to be taken next. So those prompts or those instructions appear in the command prompt line. So always pay very close attention to the command prompt. Next, we have the model space and layouts. These will be discussed in much more detail in later classes, but do remember that the model space and the layouts are available on the bottom left-hand corner. On the bottom right-hand corner, you have the status bar. There are certain buttons or functionalities that appear on the status bar which help you in creating accurate drawings. We'll also discuss about status bar in much more detail later on. Now that brings us to the end of the presentation.
তো আগের পেজে যাবেন স্যার
Okay, I'll just go back here. You have any questions?
স্যার আগের যেটা আগের আগে মানে এর আগের পেজে এটা ফ্লাই আউট বললেন ওটা কোন জায়গাটা মানে ফ্লাই আউট তো বললেন না মনে হচ্ছে
Okay, flyouts. Let me now go to the AutoCAD interface and I'll explain it there. Okay,
ওকে স্যার
I'll do it there. So this is the end of the presentation. Next, I'll open up the AutoCAD software, the AutoCAD application, and do a bit of live demonstration for your understanding.
Sir, in the Autodesk tab, which product should I install? There are several options. AutoCAD electrical, AutoCAD mechanical,
No.
AutoCAD architecture.
AutoCAD mechanical, I think.
Okay.
I'll just have a look, but AutoCAD student version. You find out AutoCAD
Yes, sir.
academic version.
হ্যাঁ
ওরা
AutoCAD স্টুডেন্ট ভার্সন নিয়েছি, তারপর সেই অটোডেস্ক বলে একটা আরেকটা মানে অ্যাপ্লিকেশন, মানে এই অটোক্যাড এর সঙ্গে সঙ্গে একটা অটোডেস্ক অ্যাপ্লিকেশনও মানে ওই উইন্ডোজে চলে এসেছে, তো ওটাতে যখন